Tonight, we're going in depth on an idea perhaps you've heard before, vaccine passports.
It's a way to prove you've been vaccinated. The idea is being talked about more and more as summer vacation season approaches.
And today, a major announcement from the CDC. Americans who are fully vaccinated can travel at low risk to themselves. It's part of new guidelines released today, which say those people also do not need to get tested before traveling within the U.S. and don't need to quarantine after travel.
The first question you may have is, what would a vaccine passport look like? Anchor CYNTHIA NEWSOME is joining us live with the answer. Hi, Cynthia.
Hey, Dia. Well, nothing is final yet, but there is talk that the vaccine passport may have more than one look. CERNER is on the team of companies across the globe working on the so-called Vaccination Credential Initiative. It would provide a reliable credential to prove that someone has been vaccinated against the COVID-19 virus.
The credential basically can either be issued on a piece of paper as a PDF, through a portal. It can be made available digitally. Ultimately, it's giving that credential to a patient, a person, and then this is critical. They should be able to take that anywhere.
Now, most of the consensus right now is that the traveling public could use the vaccination passport to prove they've been vaccinated against COVID-19. However, the team designing the database and platform are thinking long-term to contain additional health information and vaccination information beyond COVID-19 and for more than just the airline industry. The Vaccination Credential Initiative meets once a month, and we're going to keep you posted on its progress. CYNTHIA NEWSOME, 41 Action News.
Thank you, Cynthia. Missouri Governor Parson recently announced he will not require so-called vaccine passports in the state, but he did say he's comfortable with private companies adopting them. 41 Action News anchor Gabriella PAGAN digs deeper into the legality of how and which community businesses this could help.
So if I don't have a passport and I try to go into a store and I'm denied access, then I think that becomes a question of whether that denial of access is a violation of my civil rights for public accommodation.
Taking that a step further, Kansas City Attorney Donald Maxwell questions if you are forced to show a passport, is providing medical information to gain access a HIPAA violation?
In the absence of any legislation from the state, I think you're putting store owners and business owners in an awkward position to try to enforce that rule or that mandate if they come up with it. The question would be, what happens if you don't have a passport? If you elected not to get vaccinated and you don't have the passport, what's the consequence?
Owner and founder of Ruby Jean's Juicery, Chris Good, says while they won't elect to enforce a vaccine passport policy, it shouldn't necessarily be the same for all businesses.
If you're going to spend $1,000, $1,500 to go to Italy or whatever it is, then, you can take that extra step to make sure that, not only have your passport, but you have your vaccination passport.
And flying with vaccination documentation is something the travel industry has seen before.
In the olden days, there was a thing called the yellow fever card. It was a yellow card issued by the National Institute of Health. It allowed you to travel to places that had yellow fever, showing that you'd had the shot.
Ebbett says travel was down more than 80% because of COVID, but has steadily been rising in the last 2 months. He feels a vaccine passport could be the answer to the industry's efforts to bounce back.
Definitely. Yeah, the vaccine passport will definitely improve our business line. And not only ours, but every agency. Because people will feel more comfortable in getting out.
Whether certain industries end up requiring them or not, Maxwell and Good say one clear message would be beneficial.
I do feel that our governmental agencies and bodies at the local, state, and national levels should have the ability to just make a blanket expectation of this industry or that industry, and so that it's understood and that it truly becomes a team effort.
In Kansas City, Gabriella PAGAN, 41 Action News.
Tracking vaccination progress, nearly 30% of Kansans have received at least one dose of a COVID-19 vaccine. More than 16% of the state's population is fully vaccinated. Big milestone in Missouri today, the 1 millionth person fully vaccinated. This is counting vaccinations through yesterday. More than 16% of the population is finished with its vaccine regimen in Missouri.